Got a couple minutes left before we start, so I will do a song called Time. And this is another one that I wrote. And banjo players have to tune between every single song, I promise. You had every right to ask me if I'm available emotionally. I didn't know how to answer then, but I hope someday you'll ask me again. I've been taking some time. I know you've got questions for me, but I'm not ready to define how I feel, but I'm learning to be angry finally. And turns out I'm not fine. Turns out I need more time, so I've been taking some time. I've been taking some time. And the best I felt all summer was out alone on the water, drifting through the lily pads. No one around to see me feeling sad. I've been taking some time. I know you've got questions for me, but I'm not ready to define how I feel, but I'm learning to be angry finally. And turns out I'm not fine. Turns out I need more time, so I've been taking some time. I've been taking some time.
Oi! Oi!
Using quality specialty coffee, we're able to create a very strong link in terms of environmental benefit and the benefits to the community themselves.
Sempre von die Fuhren da Deck Marie.
Este sim é paraíso.
Welcome to Story Night! This season, we encourage you to be in the game, and tonight, this is Jeopardy! Now entering the studio are today's storytellers. He's the artistic director of Boise Contemporary Theater, Burdick. A retired college history professor, Tyra Benoit. And a student at CWI, Alex Mwibey. And now, here's the host of Story Night, Jodi Eichelberger.
Hello, welcome to Story Night. How wonderful it is to have you joining us here at our studio for Jeopardy, where we're all just a little bit in trouble, and that's starting with our troublemaker right over here. Thank you to LaRayne for providing our pre-show music, and we'll be hearing her during the show as well. On the claw hammer band, what makes it a claw hammer?
It's how you play it. So this is my claw, And you come down on the strings like a hammer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Very literal.
So is there like a feather duster banjo?
Probably it's an awkward instrument.
Yeah, it's very quiet.
Someone's probably tried.
Very, very quiet. All right. Well, thank you for being here. You saw a little pre-show roll of our show sponsor tonight, our Gorongosa Coffee. Thank you to them. And we also have our season sponsor, as we've had for many years, Pettit Group Realty. Thanks to them. Now, this, we have a couple of special groups with us tonight, and this doesn't happen very often. One of the groups is Leadership Boise, and I'm not sure if we have a screen from that group up. Maybe you can do a reaction shot if you're with Leadership Boise. We might be able to feature that. I know some of them are in a backyard together, and they're watching the show together, so we're happy to have them. We also have a group from BSU, which is the English intensive class, and they're joining. Oh, there's Lisa's screen briefly. The camera wasn't on, but I saw her name. That's Leadership Boise. The Boise intensive English class. Oh, there they are. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Look, it's still light outside. It's cold. I see you wrapped up in your blanket. That's good. You look like you might be in a little trouble there, too. All right, that's okay. And the BSU class, last year I surprised one of their students. We had a slammer where you can tell a 5-minute story about our theme, and there was some confusion about what we were volunteering for, I think, and we selected her, and she came on screen, and it was more than she was ready for. So that was definitely a moment where she felt a little bit in trouble. It was okay. We recovered from that. It was fine. But that does remind me that this now is our 1 year of doing these virtual programs. It's been over a year since we've been with our live audience. And here is a picture of what I looked like at the beginning of our show. There I am right there. This is what I looked like at the beginning of the show, which was done from my living room upstairs, and I was pushing all the buttons. And it wasn't too long into the show when I started to look like this. And that is why we are so happy now to be here at Valiant Studios, where I don't have to push any buttons. They do it all for me. And we're super happy to have all of you out there who you do have to push your buttons, unfortunately. There's a few that you might be interested in. There is the chat button. There's also reaction buttons where you can show things like applause and thumbs up and stuff like that. But we're actually going to have you use the chat now because throughout the evening we'll have some Jeopardy-style rounds where you have a chance to win prizes. And we need about 9 people throughout the evening who are interested in playing that Jeopardy round. And what we'd like you to do, if you're okay with that, if you're interested in, it's just going to be fun, go ahead and type in the chat your name in the form of a question. Now this tests people if they can handle Jeopardy or not. So type your name in the form of a question, just like that. Who is Story Night? All right, Story Night doesn't get to play, though. But follow that pattern. All right, we have who are Adam and Caitlin, who is Brock, who is Karen, who is Sarah. All right, we could use a few more. Why is Gretchen? Is that admissible, Game Master? Can it be a why question?
I think that's fine, but that's also a question for another day.
That's
I think. I don't know. Let's get a little deep for a Tuesday night.
Gretchen is definitely in trouble. She is having an existential crisis. All right. Well, before we get into any of that, I do want to invite a special guest onto our stage. This is a person who has a long history with trivia. Please welcome to our Story Night stage, Mark Runsvold. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Jodi.
Welcome. So you have a long history of trivia. I mean, going way back to a kid where you saw Jeopardy when you were visiting family or whatever, but you also did some kind of competitions as you were growing up in school?
I did. So I guess the first one actually was probably the National Geographic Geography bee, which I hadn't thought about for a long time. So I did that.
A geography bee.
Geography bee.
So it's like a spelling bee, but you have to like identify
rivers and countries. I went to the state competition in Sun Valley, and I kind of froze up. There was like a series of countries, and you had to say which was most suited to agriculture, and I said Libya, which is not true. Out of this group.
How old were you in that competition?
I was like 7th grade, so however old that is, 11, 12.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Braces era.
Braces, I didn't do that, I just did acne.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah.
At least you could choose. Yeah. And then from there, your next competition?
My next competition, there was a science quiz bowl in high school, sponsored by INEEL, whatever it was calling itself at the time, the National Lab. So that was science focused, but it was also kind of general knowledge, and it was my first exposure to like, hey, we're gonna ask you a bunch of questions from all over the place, and you start to peel out stuff that's just like was in the Sports Illustrated Almanac for Kids, 1994 edition.
I was reading Ranger Rick magazine. I don't know if that.
Ranger Rick magazine, absolutely.
There's some good trivia in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's part of like the foundation.
So did you know as a kid that you were good at this, or is it through the process of this that you discovered, hey, this is something I have a talent for?
I think it's kind of, I mean, it's all of that. There's like, it's a certain way my brain's wired where if I don't know something, I just want to know it. It's like, you know, every strength comes from you like feeling a lack, I think. So from a young age, I had a school teacher for a mom. She would give me these things like world almanacs, and I would go through them and learn things. And then in class, you know, I'd bring this stuff up, and everybody'd be like, "Hey, it's Mark who knows things." So, and then that just kind of it
Mark
feeds
who
back on
knows
itself.
things.
Yeah, sure.
But then you kind of reached a big achievement, and I think we have a visual of this moment happening, where you met someone very special. There's Mark with the late, great Alex Trebek. And how did that happen?
Well, I mean, all of what we talked about before. At some point in college, I found this website, jarchive.com, and it has every Jeopardy game going back to like the late 90s that people have archived, or it's like in the game board format. So I started to go through that, and then I got this job where I just sat at a desk and had like an hour of work in an 8-hour day. So I would go through that like a lot, and at a certain point I was like, I think I can get like 80% of the Jeopardy questions, which is pretty good. So I tried out, went to an audition in Seattle, and then you just don't hear anything. 2 years essentially passed, and they tell you that you're in the contestant pool for 18 months. So I was signed up for, this is the 2011 Jeopardy online quiz. I'd already done one 2 years prior. I was signed up for it. It was happening the next week. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Like 75% of the time I wouldn't pick up, but I did. And it was Karina from Jeopardy saying, there's a taping on March 8th, 2011. So we're almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
She's like, can you be in LA? And I was like, yes. I don't know what that involves, but yes, I'll be there. So that's kind of the abbreviated version.
Yeah. And how did you do?
Well, I got there. My first game, they do 5 in a row for a taping day. So a week on air is 1 day of taping. My first game, I got drawn for Friday of these 5. And I was just freaking out. Basically just like tunnel visioned at this point. And that helped me. I did really well. I won, and then had to come back 2 weeks later. And that's the point where they start paying for stuff. Like prior to that, I paid my way, paid for the hotel room, but once you got your hooks in them, they had to put me up for the next visit. And then that was, starting off like feeling the hey, I'm the returning champion pressure. I won my next game, and then it just kind of got harder from there because it was more and more thinking about where I was and what I was doing, and all the big stuff too. Like, am I going to be able to never work again? Like, how much money am I going to make here? Is this a Ken Jennings situation? College at the time, I was a terrible student because I was in a major because it was the path of least resistance, and was contemplating dropping out. So all that's going through my head, and I'm hungry. Lunch hasn't come yet. And then I get lunch, and then the episode immediately after lunch, I'm just kind of like, a little bit of the digestion going on, and I lost. So I'd won 4, I lost my 5th, and
if only you hadn't eaten that stroganoff.
Yeah, and I think it was something like that. It was like poutine.
Poutine.
Yeah.
That's what I had for lunch today.
Yeah, which is great.
It was delicious, but I didn't have to play Jeopardy afterwards.
No.
Well, we have actually arranged for a round of Jeopardy for you right now. I'm going to be in the role of Alex Trebek, so I'm moving over here to my mic.
Okay.
And
Do I have a podium?
We don't have a podium for you. You'll have to stay right there, I guess. Can we get the game board up for our friend here, for Mark? And,
yes, we can.
Let's check our categories. Oh, that little backstage preview there. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Let's check our categories. We have playing with us today Mark Runsvold. And our categories are climate change, schools in session, pursuit of hoppiness, dead presidents, is this a hat, and words that end in amberger. And I am not Jodi Eichelberger, it's Jodi Eichelberger. So I'm not one of the answers there. Which category would you like, Mark?
Let's go dead presidents for 1,000, Alex Jodi.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you could do that. You can just jump right to the biggest. You don't have to go in order?
I was a traditionalist with my gameplay. I would start at the bottom or start at the top and go to the bottom, but the cutting edge Jeopardy plays, you start at the bottom.
All right, good to know.
You build your bankroll.
All right, dead presidents for 1,000. The clue is.
Oh, hang on.
This president's grandfather, James Knox, was a captain in the American Revolution.
Who is James K. Polk?
James even has the middle initial. The answer is, or the question is, in fact, who was James K. Polk? Correct. All right, do you want to pick again?
Yeah,
$1,000.
Let's jump around.
Actually, you are restricted to dead presidents. I'm sorry to say.
Let's not jump around.
Yeah, that's for other folks.
The Story Night budget does not include full range of the board.
I hope the Daily Double is in this column. Dead presidents for 8.
Dead presidents for 800. At his second inauguration, Coolidge took the oath of office from this former president, a first.
Who is Taft?
Oh, this time you were just giving us one name, not the
Who
full
is William Howard Taft?
That's better. Who is William Howard Taft? Very good. Well, so far you were showing that you could go back and play it again just fine. With
It's only going to get easier from here, which is the good news.
That's right. It should be easier. That's supposed to go with the dollar amounts,
Yeah,
right?
who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Pay attention at home because we're coming to you, players at home, next.
Just the Taft and Polk guy, so.
Oh, okay. There
All
it
right.
is.
Who do you want next? Let's do one more.
Let's do one more. 400.
Oh, you're going to skip
just for
600.
fun. Yeah,
All right.
Daily Devil's on 4.
And it's the Daily... No. Almost defeating President Ford in the 1976 GOP primary, he won the nomination and the presidency 4 years later.
Who is Ronnie Reagan?
The answer is who was Ronald Reagan? Very good. Let's hear it for Mark Runsvold. He's still our Jeopardy champion. Okay. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thanks,
for
Jodi.
joining us here at Story Night. Now we are going to bring our 3 contestants from home, and we'll bring up a new category. Who do we have playing with us in this first round of Jeopardy, which incidentally is also going to be the introduction to our first featured storyteller?
Absolutely. We've got them queued up. We have, for our first players for round 1, we've got Patty, we've got Brock, and we've got Adam and Caitlin.
Okay. I recognize at least one couple there as previous winners of this very show. But it's been a little while, so that's okay, I think. All right. Let's let Brock choose the category, and then I will correct him and tell him which category you're actually playing. Brock, which category would you like to choose?
I was just going to make one up because I couldn't see. We'll Whatever you select for 200.
Okay, we are going to play, as soon as the board comes back, we are going to play Pursuit of Hoppiness. Okay, notice the spelling there. Pursuit of Hoppiness. And Brock says for 200. Now, the way this works is actually the three of you in your separate worlds, we will reveal the clue and then make a keystroke, and that's going to tell us who got in there first, and we'll come to you for the question. All right, does that make sense? All right, so here we go. We're going to reveal the clue for $200.
Oh yeah, that's in the chat, by the way. Just click something in the chat. Just hands on buzzers on the D or something, just so we can see who chimes in first on this.
And I think the rule is you have to wait until I finished reading the clue.
That is correct.
So no doing a chat. Don't hit return until after I've finished the last word. All right, and the clue is for $200. Pursuit of Hoppiness. Sorry, Sam Adams. Boston bars can't discount alcohol during these jovial post-work periods.
That's Caitlin and Adam first.
Caitlin and Adam, what is your question?
What is happy hour?
I believe that is correct.
That is correct.
So, all right, where would you like to go next? You're going to stay in the same column. You just pick the dollar amount.
400.
400. What is Hoppiness for 400? Proud she could drink like an Englishman, Catherine the Great enjoyed this hefty type of beer. Looks like we got... Do we have...
Those are from last time.
Oh, nobody's got the answer to this one?
Oh, we got Caitlin and Adam again.
Go ahead.
What is stout?
Is it what is stout? It is.
That is correct.
You now have $600. Where do you want to go next?
1,000.
Whoa. Caitlin, now we know who the adventurer is in this couple.
Big swing here. 4,000.
4,000. This Babylonian ruler's code decreed, among other things, a daily ration of beer to citizens. Whoa, this one seems tough.
Well, it is 1,000, yeah.
Nobody knows. All right. I guess we will
Hang
reveal.
on. Timer's coming down.
Oh, we have a timer. All right. This is... it was... Who was Hammurabi? I say it just like Alex says it, as if we all should know that. Like, come on, people. Who was Hammurabi is the answer, obviously. All right. So, I don't know where it goes. That when someone gets it wrong. Does it
I think Caitlin and Adam still have control of the board.
They still have control of the board. All right. Pick another number.
800, please.
For 800. Also a hazard on trails in the Boise foothills. This beverage is equal parts lager and cider.
Oh, jeez.
Ooh, it's a local question.
Yeah.
That's Brock.
Brock.
What is snakebite?
What is
That is
snakebite
correct.
is correct, and Brock has
wow.
on the board.
I have my assistant right here.
Aha. Oh, you've revealed your secret. Okay. All right, we have one block left there for Brock. So for $600 at the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago, this beer won a prize that became part of its name.
Oh.
That's Brock again, it looks like.
Brock.
What is Pabst Blue Ribbon?
Yes.
Is it what is Pabst Blue Ribbon?
That is correct.
All right. So we have to do a quick math calculation to find out who our winner is. I think it's not Patty O'Hara. I did my quick calculation. That didn't work out. But who won the most money?
Our winner for this round is Brock, as a matter of fact.
Whoa, way to sneak in there, Brock.
Pabst Blue Ribbon won the Blue Ribbon for the first and only time. And also, it was the only contestant, I'm pretty sure.
Wonderful. And tell us what Brock won in this round. He's looking it up right now.
Well, you're all going to get to see it. Here we go.
Okay. Oh, look. It's the whole show. It's the bones of the show right there.
Let's part the kimono here real quick. You could jump off my screen anytime.
The tension is mounting. What did Brock win? It's something very exciting.
What is Google going to tell us?
I thought I had it open. Sorry, gang.
Where's my clipboard? Now we've lost everything.
All right.
Oh,
Brock, you've won 1 weeknight stay at the beautiful scenic Idaho City Hotel, located about 45 minutes-ish outside of Idaho. It's a hotel in Idaho City.
And I think they have beer up there. So congratulations. We'll connect you to that prize. Now,
Brock, I'll get with you separately. Let me get your contact information. You can PM me in the chat. We'll get your email address, and we'll get that to you.
All of this to lead to our first featured storyteller, who comes to us from Boise Contemporary Theater and a lot of other previous productions. To hear his story of getting into trouble, please welcome to the stage Artistic Director of BCT, Benjamin Burdick.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I haven't been in a room full of people in forever. Just go launch in, Jodi, whenever. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll take "You are an idiot" for 25,000. Those words just kept pinging around in my mind over and over that day. But I'll get back to the question, which is the answer, later. It was Christmas Eve, pre-9/11, when flying on planes, the rules were still a little bit lax. I was heading home for the first time in over a year. My friends from high school were also going to be around for the holidays. My brother was coming down from Alaska. And I had just finished filming about 26 episodes of a television show, and so I was super excited to come home, not as my friend said, an actor, but like as an actor. LA to Reno, Reno to Boise, it was going to be easy peasy. And I remember the first announcement very clearly. There is a slight delay. Snow in Reno, diverting to Sacramento. We should just be there for a little while. But that slight delay turned into 45 minutes and then an hour. It was no problem. I was sitting with my 5 new best friends, because this was back in the day when Southwest had 2 rows of 3 seats that faced each other. And then across the aisle was a district attorney from Los Angeles who was super interesting and funny too. We were having a blast. But an hour turned into an hour and 15. People were getting restless, and I watched the DA get up from his seat, walk to the back of the plane. And very shortly after, he came back with his sweater like this, holding what looked to be about a dozen beer cans. And I thought, that's odd, because I haven't seen a flight attendant in this entire hour and 15 minutes, nor have we heard any announcement from the cockpit. So I kind of had to go to the bathroom. I also wanted to see what might be happening back there. I walked to the back of the plane, and sure enough, there he was, a man just hunched over the drink cart, throwing out cans of beer and liquor, little mini bottles of liquor to anyone who wanted it. He looked at me and was like, "Hey, you want a beer?" And I was like, "Hey, I don't know, maybe I should have like 6. Kind of half jokingly, but more serious than joking, because I had my 5 new best friends, and there they were. They just materialized in my hands, 6 cans of Budweiser. I walked back to the seats. I started handing them out, and there we were, drinking the last sips of our can of terrible beer. I put it on my tray table, and I thought, I should put this somewhere else. That's right when the flight attendant came walking back in. She looked down at the can of beer with a little bit of surprise, and then that look drifted slowly up to my face and turned from surprise to incredible disdain. And then she left the plane again. And I thought, oh God, now I really have to pee. I'm nervous. Also, I might want to throw away the 2 mini liquor bottles that the guy also gave me, just in case. So I went to the back of the plane. When I got back to the seat, that's when the first announcement came. You know that sickly feeling in your stomach when you hear the principal come over the intercom? That's what it was. Will the people who took drinks from the drink cart please come to the front of the plane? So, I looked at the district attorney to see what he was doing, and he was just sitting there staring straight ahead, stone cold face. And so, you know, so did I. It was then, in the interminable silence, after the interminable silence, that the next announcement came. Will the people who took drinks from the drink carts please come to the front of the plane? And so I looked at the DA, and this time he was reading a magazine, and so I was like, you know what? So will I. There I was reading the magazine, and then she left the plane again. In the interim time, I thought to myself, this is terrible. And that same thing kept echoing through my mind. You are an idiot, except this time it was racked with guilt and tinged with fear. So when she came back onto the plane, I finally decided to do the right thing, and I walked up to her and I said, hey, I'm so sorry. This is stupid. People were just handing around beers, and I grabbed one, and I know that they are about $3 a can, and so I have a $5. Please keep the change for your troubles. And this young flight attendant very warmly and very sweetly looked at me and said, it's okay. It's been taken care of. And I was like, great! Somebody bought my beer! Awesome! And so I sat down in my seat. I don't remember what I saw first, whether it was the bright yellow floor-length dusters or the men carrying shotguns as they stormed onto the plane, or the look of satisfaction from the flight attendant. But I do remember very clearly what I saw last as they passed and went to the back of the plane. The words that were emblazoned on those bright yellow dusters: Sacramento Sheriff's Dept. And I had to pee really bad. Again. It was then when they came back to the front of the plane, and I saw the young flight attendant vaguely gesture to our area that I did what I always do in this situation. I see what the hell the district attorney is doing. He's pretending to sleep. And so, you know, so do I. Nope, get up, all of you, all 5, all 6, let's go outside now. They rush us out to the jetway where they handcuff all of us, including a large group from the back of the plane. Notably absent from this group, the DA who started this whole goddamn thing. There are many uncomfortable and awkward moments when you are standing on a jetway being handcuffed. One of them is when they don't have enough handcuffs, and you have to then have the great good pleasure of being handcuffed to the guy you were sitting next to, a total stranger. I can't go through all of them, so I'll just give you some highlights. The first, I would say, are the handcuffs themselves. If any of you out there are into that kind of thing, no judgment, it's fine. For me, it was very tight and very painful. The second one is that my new cuff buddy decided that the best idea would be to start to berate these officers with gems like, don't you have anything better to do than arrest guys for maybe having one beer? Or, I bet you guys get off on this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh my God, dude, please shut up. And then I just started vomiting out of my mouth to the sheriff who was closest to me. I was like, I don't even know this guy. Honestly, like, we just are sitting next to each other. We're handcuffed, but we are not friends. And I would not really hang out with a person like this in real life. This was just a travel. And he just held up his hand, and I was like, okay, sorry. The third most uncomfortable time is when they asked for our ID, and I pulled mine out of my pocket, gave it to them, and my new future cellmate couldn't get his out of his back pocket because, Well, it was in his right pocket, and my left hand and the handcuff and his right hand were unable to grab it. And so the sheriff looked at me and he said, "Get your buddy's wallet out of his pocket." And I was like, again, just want to be super clear, we're not buddies. He's more like, and he's like, "Stop, just get it out." And I was like, "Okay, sure." Yeah. It's very crowded in a jetway when a bunch of people are handcuffed either to each other or alone. And so the only way I could actually get his wallet is if I do-si-doed him around and then leaned very hard into his pectoral and sort of armpit as I reached all the way around, fishing through his back pocket, searching for his wallet while simultaneously, accidentally groping his ass. Got it. The last and most humiliating is when Southwest made the announcement, "Ladies and gentlemen, this plane will be departing for Boise, Idaho." I looked down at my handcuff, shook my head. "If this is not your final destination, please deplane and we'll try to find you a flight inside." People streamed off the plane. And as they did, there was a woman with her very young child, probably 4 or 5. She stopped directly in front of me, looked me in the eye, and then looked down at her sweet little daughter and said, "You see, honey, this is what happens when you don't follow the rules." And all I could think of were my parents and my brother. And I thought, they have done way worse shit, so there is no worries there. That's not a problem. The real problem is that things had finally settled down and nothing was happening. And I looked to the sheriff and I was like, "What's the deal? Why aren't we just all going on our merry way and getting back on the plane that's going to Boise, Idaho?" And he said, "Well, they're trying to decide whether or not they want to press charges." I was like, press charges? It's a $3 can. It's like and it's a Budweiser, for Christ's sake. Like, that might be somebody paying me to take it off their hands situation. And he's like, "Well, the problem is," and he said it with way too much enjoyment and glee for this particular situation, I felt like, "the problem is that you did it on an airplane, and so it's a federal offense punishable by 5 years in jail or a $25,000 fine." And I had two thoughts. You are an idiot, and you should have drank the little 2 bottles of liquor for a fine like that, for Christ's sake. We indeed did not get charged with the federal offense of stealing stuff off of a plane. And as I went back on to grab my carry-on, the pilot was standing there, and I said, "Is there any chance, because I'm going to Boise, I could just sit back down?" And he said, "Well, you're going to have to listen. Or you're going to have to talk to the flight attendant." I'm so sorry. I am really, it was stupid. And I know that now. Also, it's Christmas Eve, and I haven't seen my family in like 1.5 years, and my brother's down from Alaska. So I will just sit here and I won't say a word, and then you will never see me again. And she looked at me with that same warm smile and very sweetly said, "We don't like people like you on our flights." And I was like, fair enough. Sure. So I don't have enough time to talk to you about the Motel 6 that I had to stay in the most crazy, sketchy area of Sacramento, or how I actually got home. That will be for double Jeopardy. But tonight, I would like to take "You Are an Idiot" for nearly $25,000. Ding. Who was the luckiest bastard on earth that night? Ding, 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 ding. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Ben. Now I definitely know that if I am on a flight and the flight attendant says to me, "It's all been taken care of," I'm going to be very, very nervous. All right, I am now your flight attendant for the next round of Jeopardy. We have 3 new players and a brand new category. And this, again, is going to introduce our next featured storyteller. See what we did there? You had Pursuit of Hoppiness and then Ben and his Budweiser. See what's happening? Yeah, it's like someone planned it almost. It's almost like that. Play us a little banjo while we're waiting for our players to pop up. Thank you. And who do we have playing in this round?
For round number 2, we've got Karen, Sarah, and Gretchen.
Karen, Sarah, and Gretchen, welcome. And let's see. Let's have Sarah choose the category. How about Sarah? What category would you like?
I had kind of a hard time seeing them last time. Let me see. They're okay. Perfect. So we've got climate change. What's the first? What's the
schools in session? Is this a hat? And words that end in hamburger.
Oh Lord. Okay, schools in session for 200.
I'm sorry, but we've pre-selected your category. You're going to be playing climate change. Because that's what introduces our next featured storyteller. So get ready to buzz in. Yes, get ready to buzz in.
Yep, any old letter, any old thing, hands on your keyboard. You'll buzz in after Jodi finishes reading the clue.
And is Sarah picking the dollar amount?
If she'd like.
Yeah.
It would be 200 for sure.
Did you say 200?
Yes, please.
All right, here we go. Here is the clue. In 2015, representatives of 195 nations agreed to a landmark climate change accord in this city. All you at home, please keep quiet, because if your microphone's on, they're going to... Okay, I see Karen. Karen, what is the question?
What is the Paris Accord?
Okay, and we're answering what city it happened in?
Oh, excuse me.
That is correct.
What is Paris?
Yes, there we go.
We'll take it. I'm the judge.
All
I say
right,
it's
what
fine.
is Paris? Okay, Karen, what dollar amount would you like to choose next?
Let me see. Oh, okay. How about climate change for 400, please?
Very good. Here is the clue. Depleted fields, drought, and wind created the climate that led to this name for an area of the Great Plains in the 1930s.
That's Gretchen first.
All right, Gretchen.
What is the Dust Bowl?
Yeah.
And the answer is correct. What is
That is
the
correct.
Dust Bowl? Very good. Gretchen, where would you like to go?
I guess I go for climate change for 600.
All right, they're doing the classic mark.
That's right.
Not the edgy. We have old school players tonight.
Well, between the 4 of them, he's actually bid on Jeopardy, but I'm not going to throw shade on
okay.
anybody's game plan. You know what I mean?
All right, let's reveal 600. In the western United States, this season lasts twice as long today as it did in 1970. Gretchen again.
Summer?
The answer...
What is summer?
Well, that is not correct.
That is incorrect.
The other 2 players, do you have an idea what season we're looking for that lasts twice as long today as it did in 1970?
Yeah.
That's Karen there.
Karen, what do you say?
What is fire season?
That is correct. What is fire season?
There
And
it is.
now
Congratulations.
Karen has control of the board. What would you like to select?
Climate change for 1,000.
Whoa, she's
swing. Let's
switching
go.
it up. All right, $4,000. Here's the clue. Before his act of rapid climate change in the book of Genesis, God tells Noah to make an ark of gopher wood, the length of 300 of these ancient measuring units.
You have to wait till the question's done. So chime in again if you already chimed in. There you go, Gretchen.
What are cubits?
Gretchen went to Sunday school.
That is correct.
That is correct. All right, very good. Gretchen, you get to choose the last question.
All right, now I do want to point out that Karen and Gretchen are tied for $800 right now.
You are tied, so this is going to break the tie. All right. For 800. You have to say
I can't
it.
quite read the categories.
You don't have to. It's climate change for 800.
Okay.
It's just the one.
Just say the words, I'll take climate change for 800, please.
I'll take climate change for 800, please.
Okay,
there we go.
Good.
We got a clean take of that. That's good.
By melting sea ice, global warming has reduced the number of the Adelie species of this bird. They're thinking.
Penguins? You can try it.
Uh-oh, I think the timer is coming into play.
Oh, there's Karen.
Oh, Karen, what is it?
What are penguins?
That is correct. And Karen wins the round.
Karen runs away with it.
All right, go ahead and get your saw ready, Lori, because as we learned at the last round, sometimes Matt is not super fast on the draw for the prize. And so we are going to hear the final Jeopardy music on the very dangerous musical saw.
Oh.
While Matt comes up with what Karen won tonight. All right, here it is.
Oh, nice.
Incredible.
That is so cool.
Incredible.
All right, Matt, what did Karen win? I think we have a hint right here.
We did. I had just so you know, I had it pulled up this time around. I can learn on the go here. Karen, you have won a print of the art piece Polar Standing by Jerry Lisk, as shown here. This piece comes to us courtesy of the Pettit Group Art Collection. Congratulations. If you would please DM the Story Night Zoom character your email address, we will make arrangements to get that to you.
Thank you, Karen. And that does come to us courtesy of the Pettit Group, which incidentally our third player was representing, and I think intentionally was not buzzing in because she knew she couldn't win the prize. So that was very gracious of you, Sarah. All right, and here's a message from our sponsor. Real estate is full of answers and questions. Here's the answer. A small, thoughtful real estate team. What is Pettit Group? Their passion is providing impeccable service with integrity. The Pettit Group supports local nonprofits through philanthropic giving. Visit us on Facebook and Instagram. And in fact, they have given both to Story Night and also Boise Contemporary Theater, who is represented tonight, have been supported by the Pettit Group. So thank you for that. And now, that leads us into our next featured storyteller, who actually is joining us from off-site. She is not in the studio with us tonight, and this is her first time participating with Story. Please welcome to your screens, Tyra Benoit.
And I just want to make sure that the technology's working. You can hear me?
Yes, you sound fantastic, Tyra.
All right. And thank you for allowing me to join you from California. You know, last April, I was walking the green belt outside of my home in Eagle, Idaho, beautiful spring day, and I realized that I had a problem. I'd been through grief before, but this was quite different, and I needed to make a decision. It brought me back to another beautiful day, October 2017. It wasn't the spring, it was the fall, but I was living in Santa Rosa, California, and my husband and I had both just retired from successful teaching careers, and we had just remodeled our home, and we were living what we thought was the good life, and in a little piece of paradise in Santa Rosa, middle of wine country, 30 miles from the Pacific Ocean. Our day had begun with a great trip about 45 minutes south to a film fest. And we came home a little bit early, and we noticed that the wind had really picked up, that it was howling. And it was a sound that I'd never quite heard before. I thought I'd gotten used to these winds up on the ridge. There was a little bit of a whiff of smoke. And later we learned that these winds were going 90 miles an hour. I went to bed, tried to go to sleep with the howling winds outside the door. My husband's a little bit of a night owl. He stayed up, and I heard the landline ring, which I thought was really strange because nobody calls landlines anymore. And if it was this late at night, it had to be one of my kids or some sort of other issue. My husband came upstairs and he said, "We just got a reverse 911 call. And what that means is that we have to evacuate right now, immediately." The first thing I thought of was our cat, who was by this time a little bit skittish because of the wind. And so I took her and put her in the bathroom, locked her in so that she wouldn't be able to escape, and then started running around the house, gathering things together, photos, my kids' graduation, our wedding photos, heirloom Christmas ornaments, a box with some important documents, new and old laptops, our passports, and I threw them into the car. I packed a little bit of a suitcase. My husband said, "Don't worry, we'll be back. This is just an evacuation." And so we left, driving both cars out, not knowing exactly what we were going to do, but we had decided to meet at this little market about a mile from our home. We got down to the base of our hill, and by this time we could see the red, intense light on the ridge behind us. And we realized as we turned that we had gone the wrong direction. What we were doing was going right back to the freeway that we had just come north on. But we realized that now that was not a safe place to be. We could see a school that was already consumed by flames. The fire was heading towards the freeway, and by this time had started to jump the freeway and housing development. My cat, as you can imagine, is in the back seat howling, trying to figure out what's going on. And unlike Idaho drivers, most of the Bay Area is not known for its courtesy. So when we realized that we were driving right into the fire, we had to turn around. And no one panicked. Everyone was curious. And we turned directions and went north to a Home Depot parking lot with hundreds of other people. By this time, we realized that the freeway was closed in both directions, and we had to decide what to do. At the time, we still kept thinking, well, the fire that we saw was south of our neighborhood, so it's going to be fine. And my husband kept calling me on the cell phone saying, everything's going to be okay, we'll be back. We got to the Home Depot, we were listening to the community radio, we realized that we weren't going to be going back that evening, so we tried to decide what to do. My husband needed gas in his car. We couldn't decide what we were going to do if we didn't have enough gas to make it farther north, so we just drove a few miles to a friend's cul-de-sac. And at this point in time, all of Santa Rosa was really still asleep. Most people didn't know what was going on. And so our friends, we had called them, but they hadn't picked up. So we just sat out in our cars overnight, waiting to see what would happen. I was encouraged by the fact that we kept getting notifications from our thermostat that humidity in the house was dangerously low, but I thought, well, it's still communicating. My husband kept calling the landline, the voicemail that would come on just as we had seen it before. And as soon as our friends woke up at dawn, we started talking about what we should do. And at that point, we got a notification. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning. We got a notification that our security system was calling us and telling us that there had been a break-in at both the front and back doors. So at the time, we thought, oh, that's great. Looters. Our house had survived the night, and it was just facing some of those kinds of threats. However, as the day went on, it became abundantly clear that the fire had shifted and was now moving a little bit north. And by that evening, we found that we had lost our home along with 5,200 other Santa Rosans, and 23 people would eventually die in this Tubbs fire that was October 2017. A year later, the Tubbs fire was dwarfed by the Camp Fire in Paradise, and we too had connections to that community. That's where we had met. Our children had been born there. I taught at the middle school and at the community college in Butte County. And in that particular fire, it was my friends texting and saying, I don't think we're going to get out of here. They were stuck in traffic, the flames lapping at their cars on the ridge. And one of my friends, because we did go up there to help with their insurance struggles, one of my friends said to me, you know, it's kind of like a different kind of grief. You're still alive, but a part of you has died. And yes, I will say that a part of me did die in 2017. And because of that, and because of the suffering that I saw with the campfire in Paradise, where 16,000 structures were destroyed and 85 people died, I threw myself into climate activism. I'd always been an environmentalist. I'd been involved in the civil rights movement, but this was something that became abundantly important so that other communities wouldn't face what we had faced. And in the process of doing this, we moved to Eagle, Idaho. At the time, we thought we could stay there. And I think we're some of the only Californians that made the move to Idaho, but eventually decided to move back. And so we left Idaho, and that's why I'm speaking to you from California today, because it was so hard to forget the jeopardy that we'd been through. Most people don't understand why we didn't stay. Most people don't understand why we would move back to an area that's still threatened by wildfire, still threatened by drought, and in fact has faced a number of wildfires in the past year. But I think that it's because the people and the community that I'm a part of has helped me to overcome that part of me that had died. And somehow it's comforting to be around others who faced the same struggles. Now we live about 10 miles north of Santa Rosa. We couldn't go back to our lot. We didn't want to go back to our lot because it was in that wildfire interface, and we felt that it wasn't smart to rebuild in that forest. So we're in town in a little community called Healdsburg. And during the pandemic, at the beginning, the community would come together and howl in support of the medical first responders, the sheriff's deputies, just for all the work that they had done. They're revered in the fire departments are revered in these areas. And what happened when that howl came out of me, it was not just recognizing what these individuals were doing, but it was a part of me also dealing with that grief. And so with the activism and what I've been able to accomplish working on the issues of climate change, our county is now the first in the entire United States where all jurisdictions have declared a climate emergency, and we're making progress. And so I think that's the way my grief, my problem, so to speak, will be healed. Thank you for letting me share my story.
Oh, thank you so much, Tyra, for sharing that story with us. And we have kind of a additional end cap to that story because we are exposing, I don't always do this, I mean, we do a lot of recruiting to find storytellers, and we get a lot of different sources for that. But tonight we actually have how we found Tyra. The person responsible for that is with us here in the studio. So I'd like to invite up to our stage this long title, Doctoral Candidate and Yale School of the Environment, Jodi McConnell. Katie.
Hi, Tyra.
You get to see Tyra again.
I know. We've never actually met in person, so it's great to see your face on the screen.
And when were you on Jeopardy?
Never.
Oh, okay.
I'm terrible at trivia.
Oh, I see. All right, not good at trivia. So what was the situation that connected you with Tyra? Why did the two of you meet?
Yeah. So I was born and raised here in Boise, and for my dissertation research, I'm studying how wildfires affect where people live and move to. So I've started interviewing folks like Tyra who've moved here to Idaho because a wildfire affected their community. So I've been trying to find folks just through talking to people, conversations like these, to hear stories like Tyra's, and to understand folks' experiences of living through wildfire damage, and picking things up and moving forward.
And how common is it for people from California or from wildfire tragedies in general to come to Idaho as sort of fire refugees?
It's a really good question. It's really hard to get hard numbers to answer that with, but we know that from the campfire, there are at least a couple hundred folks who are here in the Treasure Valley.
Yeah, just in the Treasure Valley.
Yep, and just from the campfire. So we know that there have been new fires every summer for the past 3 or 4 years. So you can imagine that there are probably folks here from those fires as well. But it's hard to know how many in total.
Yeah. And as Tyra said, is it a little unusual to have somebody come? Tyra, we couldn't see the audience, but you may have gotten applause when you mentioned that you were from California and you moved back. I'm not sure. But have you run across that where they're here temporarily and then go back to the state they came from?
No, many folks I talk with still have very strong ties to their community in California and are trying to figure out if they can move back to be closer to grandkids, friends and family. But for a lot of people, it's really hard to rebuild and figure out how to move back. It's very expensive to find housing in California, as it is here in Boise now too. That can be a big obstacle for folks who might want to return. So actually, I think Ty is probably a bit out of the norm in terms of folks I've talked to tend to stay here.
Do they come here because they have some connection already?
That's often the case, yeah. If folks have friends or family members, maybe they visited Idaho, come fishing here, they already knew the area. That can be a big draw.
Yeah. And you're still searching for people to interview and include in your study. I found you through a website that people can come to. What is that website?
Yep. So the website is wildfiresurvivorsidaho.org, and maybe I can share that. But for anyone who would like to share their story with me, I'm a good listener. I'm not a great storyteller, but would really appreciate hearing from folks.
And is there a timeline for this study?
I'm doing interviews this spring and through this summer, maybe a bit into the fall as well.
And maybe you'll get to do some of those in person.
I know, I'm hoping. Cross my fingers.
Fingers crossed. Well, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for introducing us to Tyra to have her on the show tonight.
Thank you for joining, Tyra. Really appreciate it, and great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. This is the point of the show where we allow you to break out into little, breakout rooms, almost as if you were going to the lobby to see other people who are at the show. We're just going to have a 5-minute break. You'll see a little prompt on your screen that invites you to go to a breakout room. You can say yes or no, or you can go to the breakout room and come back. If you stay here, we're going to have music from LaRayne, and we'll bring everybody back in 5 minutes for the rest of our show. And until then, stay out of trouble.
This song is called Return of the Buffalo, and it's an original. Sacred land of snakes and brush, where the homestead dreams were born. The old Wild West whispers a wish for the bison herds to be reborn. 10,000 years have passed through lore. The mighty bison herds are falling once more. Soon they will be no more, no more, forever no more. Nights and final days, but as time has drifted and the winds have shifted, now the land calls out for bison calves to graze. 10,000 years have passed through lore. The mighty bison herds are falling once more. Soon they will be no more, no more, forever no more. Buffalo herds. Another frontier has been broken today. The bison's fate has been preserved. 10,000 years have passed through lore. The mighty bison herds are falling once more. Soon they will be no more, no more, forever no more. No more, forever no more. Thank you. That song was about some land that my parents sold in Colorado. And the people who bought it actually are some people who were trying to save the bison herds in Yellowstone. And they all kind of, they have this disease called brucellosis, and so they need to raise some herds apart from there. So that's what they're doing on that land. This next song is called Time. You had every right to ask me if I'm available emotionally. I didn't know how to answer then, but I hope someday you'll ask me again. I've been taking some time. I know you've got questions for me, but I'm not ready to define how I feel, but I'm learning to be angry finally. Thank you.
And now we actually are going to start our second act. Welcome back, everybody. If you were in a breakout room, I hope you had a good time and you broke out in a good mood. And now we're going to have a featured song that we'll start off with from Lori. This one is called Caravan Parade.
Thank you, Jodi. The song is about caravans in the sense of camp trailers in England. I lived there for a lot of years, and I lived in a camp trailer for a few of them. So this is about being very cold for a while. The last swan flew off long ago, beating the damp winds loud and slow. Abandon us at the harbor. She demanded her royal pardon. We shiver and shake in our boxes of decay. Hold on our clothes, debts to pay. We parade down the caravan promenade. Lost, broken, betrayed. The lost, the broken, the betrayed. Carnivals in cardboard homes, sleeping in shadows, hunting alone. Broken souls, broken wings. Commoners under Her Majesty the Queen. We shiver and shake in our boxes of decay. Hold on our clothes, debts to pay. We parade down the caravan promenade. Lost, broken, betrayed. The lost, the broken, the betrayed. If these winter winds keep shaking me awake, I'll break, I swear I'll break. I'll find another way to pay for my mistakes, but please, I swear I'll break. We shiver and shake in our boxes of decay. Hold on our clothes, debts to pay. We parade down the caravan promenade. Lost, broken, betrayed. The lost, the broken, the betrayed.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lori. Oh, you remind me of a time when I was in trouble. I was hiking across the Isle of Wight in Britain, and it was very rainy, and I had no skills, no survival skills whatsoever. And it was reaching dark, and it was raining. I really didn't want to camp in the rain, and we were saved by a 90-year-old milkmaid who put us up in her caravan. And we got to spend the night dry and cozy. And she had actually never left the Isle of Wight, even to go to the mainland of England. All her 90 years were spent on that island. And now she was running a caravan rentals. All right. Well, we're going to pack 3 people into our caravan to go to our next round of Jeopardy, which leads into our final featured storyteller. And so we'll have some more. Oh, I appreciated those close-ups, by the way. Did you see Lori's claw hammering that banjo? That was amazing. All right, who do we have playing in this last round for our final prize? Oh, I see some people. I see lots of people.
Yeah, so you want to talk about a caravan? We got a full caravan here this evening for our third round. Say hello to Brendan and Jen, Sean and Kendra, and Natalia and the gang.
Natalia and the gang, that sounds like a 90s group.
I think I caught them at Treefort a few years back. They were very good.
Very good. Welcome, everybody, to round 3. Let's see. Let's have Natalia and the gang choose the final column here, the final category. Natalia, what do you say?
All right. Oh, boy. Okay. Can you read the... Okay, I can see him now.
Is it a hat?
Is it a hat? Okay. Let's do... Is this a hat?
Very good. Well, we have pre-chosen Schools in Session for you. So we will be playing Schools in Session.
Okay.
And would you like to start at 200?
Sure.
Okay. All right, here is the clue. The National PTA suggests that 12th graders spend no more than 2 hours a night on this. Oh, we have Kendra.
What is homework?
And the answer is what is
That is correct.
homework? Very good. All right. Where would you like to go next?
That was 200 for Sean and Kendra?
Yes.
Let's go 400.
For $400. German composer Karl Orff made this end-blown flute vital to music education, which is partly why kids across the U.S. learn to play it.
Remember, no buzzing in until after he's done, so that's Kendra first.
Okay.
What is the recorder?
It looks like Kendra has abandoned her partner and disappeared completely.
It's the Sean show. All right, let's go.
Now Sean, and his question was, what is the recorder? That
is correct.
All right. What next?
600.
Reminder, no buzzing in until after he's finished reading the clue. Hands on buzzers, though. Get ready.
For $600. Hey, teachers. We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control, according to a song by this band.
Okay.
That was Natalia.
All right, Natalia. Who's the band?
What is Pink Floyd? Who is Pink Floyd?
Who is Pink Floyd?
That is correct.
And you have stolen control of the board. Where would you like to go?
800, yeah.
All right, $800. You might win some of our money knowing he played a teacher in a cult classic 1986 movie. Bueller.
That's Kendra.
Who is Ben Stein?
Who is Ben Stein is the right question.
That is correct.
Very good, and you've gotten back control of the board. So we have $1,000.
Let's go 1,000.
Let's put it in.
It's bananas to think this famous Tennessee court case about teaching evolution in school is almost 100 years old. Oh, they're thinking. Oh,
that was Kendra.
All right. Go ahead.
What is the Scopes monkey trial?
That is correct. And I don't think we need to add the money there. I'm pretty sure that the winner is Sean and Kendra. All right.
That also is correct. Congratulations, Sean and Kendra. Give them a hand, everybody.
And you get a pretty good prize tonight. Let's get some banjo music to underscore this prize announcement.
For our third round, your prize is a year's subscription of freshly roasted Gorongosa coffee delivered straight to your door. Every cup of coffee has a story. Theirs is from Gorongosa National Park in Mozambique. Remember, 100% of profits go to Gorongosa National Park. Congratulations!
Wonderful. And actually, a big part of our Gorongosa's mission is educating girls. So school comes back in there too. And here is a message from our sponsor. Our Gorongosa produces specialty coffee using regenerative practices that support human development, rainforest reforestation, and wildlife conservation in Gorongosa National Park, Mozambique. 100% of profits support these initiatives, leading the way for direct impact business. Their vision is to create a world where people and the planet thrive together. Our Gorongosa. Thank you for that sponsorship tonight. All right. And now we have reached our last featured storyteller of the evening. This is not his first time participating with Story Night, but it is a little different because he was in a video production that we launched this year with Blue Sky at Boise State University that was called Story Night Libra. But tonight we have him. He gets to tell the story without being interrupted with video edits. Please welcome Alex Mwibey.
You guys doing? Oh, I feel pretty nervous, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm ready. Anyway, I remember back in 2016, just a new kid in the country, a sophomore. back at Bora High School. That's where I started school. I didn't like school at the beginning. It was just, I don't know, I couldn't speak no language. I couldn't speak any English. I couldn't make any friends with nobody because I was just a pretty shy kid. Just, who am I going to talk to? And I just remember one day I started making friends. And just one day I ended up just, hanging out with my friends. I didn't go to school. But when I came back home, my dad was just in his room, just sitting, minding his own business. He had a cup of coffee drinking, and he had his glasses on, sunglasses. And then when I get in, he was like, "Hey, where are you coming, man?" I was like, "Oh, I just came back from school." I was like, "No, you didn't go to school." I was like, "Dad, I just came back from school." I was like, "No, you didn't go to school. I just got a call from your counselor that you didn't go to school." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm in a big trouble." I knew I didn't get in school. I knew I didn't go to school, but I didn't know in U.S. that counselors, they will call your parents to let your parents that you don't go to school or you didn't attend school. I didn't know all that because I didn't care. But my pops got a call. "Hey, your son Alex, he didn't attend a class today." And then I didn't know my dad would know anything, or I didn't know the counselor would call my parents that I didn't go to school. So my dad was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna punish you because you didn't go to class." I was like, "Dad, I was in the class. Trust me, I was in the class. I had my backpack on." And then I showed him, "Dad, you can see I have my backpack on. I was in the class." He's like, "No, I just got a call from school. You didn't go to class." I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know this exists. That counselors can call parents to tell a student that they didn't go to school." Well, I end up getting in trouble, obviously. My parents end up punishing me. They were like, "Oh, you have to stay in your room, blah, blah, blah. You can't do this and that." Well, it was just, okay, whatever. I was like, okay, well, so this is what happening. If you don't go to school, the counselor or the teachers, they call your parents. So, but that didn't make me that obviously gave me much confidence to go to school so that I won't get in trouble with my parents, because I don't like getting in trouble with my parents. But I just remember back then where I grew up, back in the refugee camp, I didn't go to school at all. My sibling didn't go to school, so I didn't really have any experience about school or anything. So it was just kind of hard living in the refugee camp with my family for 10 years and growing up without no food, no education, no clothes and all that stuff. But the government of Malawi, or the government of the country that I came from, they didn't provide any job for people. So I was the oldest kid in the family. I was like, what should I do to provide for my family? Because the refugee camp, they don't provide any food or anything. So I started selling water on the street, selling peanut, selling the small things just to provide something for my family. And my parents, they both didn't have jobs back in the refugee camp. And I would do that every single day, every single morning, just to go on the street, sell water, sell peanut, and all that stuff. But I remember one day, I was just on the street selling water, minding my own business. These few guys from nowhere, I didn't know where they came from. They came and steal my money that I made. And it was one of the days that I'll never forget. They just steal my money and then run away. I was like, oh my God, why would you take my money that I work for? This is the money that I'm providing for my siblings, my parents, to buy food, clothes, and all that stuff. But I didn't give up to hustle or to push myself to help for my family. I went and talked to my parents. Hey, Dad, Mom, I made this couple bags, but people steal it from me. They take it away from me. Well, my parents were like, you gotta keep up. This is life, and you gotta learn from this. You gotta learn where to put your money. And I just one day I took a day off for myself. I obviously given myself a day off. I was just sitting somewhere at a tree, and then I was starting asking myself question: is this being on the street, selling water, is this who I want to be? Or doing this and that, is this who I want to become? Or is this my life for the rest of my life? Like, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Selling water, being on the street, doing nothing. Is this who I want to be? Is this who I want to become? But I knew that's not the person who I want to become. And I knew that's not who I was. Because I knew one day that life is going to change. And I'm going to become who I want to become. But unfortunately, yes, my family flew to United States. So it was one of the biggest achievements that I and my family have achieved. We came to Idaho back in 2016. Life was hard, obviously. Like, the new language, parents didn't get jobs because they couldn't speak any English. Obviously, you have to speak a little English to get a job in the United States. But they had to take couple classes to you have to take English classes to to get job in the United States. And well, after a few years, life started. I graduated from high school, and now I'm a CWI student, sophomore student, and I'm very thankful. I'm the firstborn to go to college. I'm very happy with that, and I'm just confident that now I'm finally who I want to be, going to school. Because back then in the refugee camp, I didn't have any opportunity or any chance to go to school. But here in the United States, I'm able to go to school, and I'm able to achieve any dream that I want to achieve. I want to become what I want to become. But college is not easy, though. It's pretty tough, I'm not going to lie. Especially a new kid in the country, second language, it's not easy. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hard. But I'm fighting. I'm working hard to achieve my goals. I am very, very thankful, college and all that. And well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex. And Alex has also learned that the counselors in college don't call your parents if you miss a class. And you're getting some comments here. Awesome story from Jessica, one of our co-founders, Patty O'Hara. Yay, Alex! That's one fun thing about these virtual audiences. You get these comments right away. And to see more of his story, you can find our YouTube channel and look for Story Night Libra, and Alex's story is featured in that collection. Story Night receives support from the Boise Arts and History Department and is supported by public funding for the arts and through the Idaho Commission on the Arts, the Idaho Legislature, and the National Endowment for the Arts. Thank you to our media sponsor, Radio Boise, where we also have a monthly radio program the Sunday before our live show. Thank you to our crew, technical director, sound and podcast engineer, video producer, a lot of hats there. We all wear a lot of hats, I guess, Stephen Baldessari. Thank you to our photographer, Chelsea Hirata, who's here in the studio with us. You can find her pictures on our Facebook page very soon. Thank you to our guest musician, LaRayne Gilbert. Thank you to our volunteers and our board of directors. We also want to thank our story subscribers who have been supporting us through the pandemic and kind of bridging the gap between ticket sales and how we fund these shows. And we want to thank our hosts here, Valiant Productions, and the entire team here for hosting us. We have one more show next month, To Tell the Truth, which is going to feature some people from our own story community. Until then, Story Night. Story good night. Beginning, middle, now at the end. And listen, Lori is playing along. Authentic, inspiring, spontaneous. So thank you. You shared your stories and listened. I was watching. I may have come here as a stranger, but now I'm leaving as a friend. Thank you for the fun show tonight. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Great show, everyone. And so the story doesn't end. Good night. We'll see you next month for To Tell the Truth, where there will be imposters. And you will have to decide whose story does it really belong to on the last Tuesday of the month. Thank you so much for being with us. We feel your energy here in the studio. Keep up telling the stories and hearing the stories, and be well. Good night.